So.
Right. Yeah, he's going to see when this is on other
YouTube live. Okay, next there. I'm coming here. I'm sauntering so that I don't trip.
Good evening and welcome. My name is Kate Jones. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of Frederick County. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan group. We encourage informed and active participation at all levels of government. We strive to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and we influence public policy through education and advocacy. At tonight's forum, our candidates for Frederick City Mayor are Michael O'Connor and Tom Trott. Our interpreters are James Shevlin and Tabitha Podlazik. Our moderator tonight is Lori Gross, former president and current board member of the League of Women Voters for Frederick County. Our timekeeper tonight is Sue Kunkel, our treasurer, and Nanette Hobson has been our organizer for the forums this year. Thank you all for participating in tonight's forum. Lori will now review the rules for tonight's forum. I did pass my first hurdle. Okay, thank you, Kate. Let's see, the first order of business. Will everyone please turn off your cell phones or put them in silent mode? Okay, and tonight's event is a forum, not a debate. So the candidates will not be given an opportunity to challenge or comment on your opponent's answer to a question. If you feel you need to respond after you answer your given question, you may take any remaining allotted time to respond. And please, of course, be civil and respectful of your opponent. And in the beginning, I will give each candidate an opportunity for a 2-minute opening remark. Then we'll have questions back and forth for each candidate. The first question, you'll see you have 3 minutes to answer, but after that, they'll each either be 1 or 2-minute answers, and I will let you know how that goes. Our timer, as Kate pointed out, is Sue here in the red sweater. She has cards indicating the time you have left. And when your time is up, go ahead and show them what they look like, Sue. There's 15 seconds, 5 seconds, and 0. And of course, if your time runs out when you're mid-sentence, please do go ahead and finish that sentence. And then at the end, you will also have another opportunity for a 2-minute closing remark. And to our audience, please respect the forum etiquette, which is no clapping or other noises in response to a candidate's answer to our questions. Once the forum has ended, you will be able to express your appreciation for the candidate's participation. And Kate already introduced our sign language interpreters. Thank you to them. Are we good? Okay, so we will go ahead and start with our 2-minute opening remarks, starting with Mr. Trott. Mr. Trott.
Okay, I've got a red light. I was looking for green, but as long as everybody can hear me, we're good. Hello.
Oh, no.
Hello.
Yeah, that's working.
All right, now we're back. So you may need bigger numbers than what you're going to flash at me. So you might have to throw a pen or something. Well, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much to the League of Women Voters. My name is Tom Trott, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Frederick. I'm a 1982 graduate of Thomas Johnson High School. My kids also graduated from TJ and are living in Frederick with their families as well. Tom I'm a business owner and entrepreneur. I've worked for banks and other financial institutions. I was on the board of Frederick County Bank. I've owned a finance company, a lockbox processing company, as well as developed residential properties within the city and county. I'm also and owner of Victory Mortgage Solutions right on Patrick Street. I'm passionately involved in the community as a member of the Rotary Club of Carroll Creek, the Elks Lodge 684, the Redmonds, and on the board of the Frederick County YMCA, Heritage Frederick, and Mount Olivet Cemetery, as well as the Maxwell Place Condominium Association. So I live right on the creek. Instead of complaining about current issues in Frederick, I've decided to step up and try to make things better for all the residents of the city of Frederick. One of the big things that I've noticed over the last several years is that our property taxes have gone up 60%, while population's only gone up 20%. Looking forward to turning that around and hopefully lowering our tax rate. One of the ways is getting with the county, who the county basically charges $1.10 for all residents, and that's how they calculate the taxes. For the city, it's $1.02 because we have some services that we get paid back for. So they've reduced it. In addition, we pay 70 cents. I don't think that differential is enough. The formula was originally designed and put into effect in 1981, and it needs to be revisited. And hopefully that'll help out all the citizens and property owners of Frederick. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Connor, your 2-minute opening remark.
Good evening, and thank you very much. Appreciate the League of Women Voters hosting this opportunity. I appreciate Tom's campaign and what that means for democracy in our country. It's been the great honor of my life to serve the residents of this city over the last 8 years as mayor and for 8 years as member of the legislative body at that time called the Board of Aldermen. Our focus in that time has been, how do we increase opportunity in Frederick for everyone and make sure that this isn't a city that just works for a few. Whether that's guiding the city through the effects of a global pandemic in 2020 and 2021, dealing with the effects of flooding that occurred in the spring of 2018, just months after I took office, and working now on the resiliency projects that we need to address the real effects of climate change on our community, to looking at how we look at equity across the city of Frederick, how we spend our dollars in every neighborhood. And that will not be more important than it is now as we elect city council people to represent each one of those communities across our city, and making sure that the work that we do as a city government is reflective of the need to invest in every community and every neighborhood. I frequently talk about Frederick City as a full service community, a community that offers something for everyone. Great arts, great culture, athletic opportunities, livable, walkable, bikeable neighborhoods. Another way of saying a full service city is a city of opportunity. We don't have the luxury of looking at any neighborhood, any community, and saying we can't afford to make an investment there. And so our focus is understandably often in downtown Frederick. That is the heartbeat of this community, but it means investing in the west side of the city of Frederick. And that's why we put money into West Side Regional Park. It's why we're putting money into bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure all over the city. It's critically important that we invest in every community in Frederick.
Thank you very much. So our first question will be for Mr. Trott, and this will be the one where you have 3 minutes to answer because it's kind of complex. We're starting with the issue of affordable housing. We'd like to hear from you in a comprehensive way. So again, you can take the full 3 minutes. Give us a high-level view of how Frederick can best alleviate its affordable housing problem.
Affordable housing has been an issue in Frederick for over 30 years at least, and there's been challenges. I've spent the last almost 30 years working in affordable housing as a loan officer and owner of a mortgage company. So it's mainly focused on having people be able to purchase and own and stay in their homes. But one of the big issues we're having now is the property taxes are going way up. We're keeping the same rate, but the values of the properties are up. So it's just a lot more money in taxes being paid. A lot of the loans I've been doing recently are to help people that have been in the community 30, 40, 50 years, and they can't afford the increases in their property taxes. So I've got kids getting home equity loans, signing on home equity loans for parents in order to help them pay taxes. As far as making we're a victim of our own success. The values of properties in Frederick have gone up astronomically. We need to figure out a way to make the tax rate and the taxes themselves go down. I think we've gotten away from offering core government services, water, sewer, streets, police, and parks and rec, and we've been doing a lot of things that aren't necessary to the government. I mean, basically, our communications budget's gone up significantly. I understand we have a great recording studio now in City Hall, and I think some of those prior money can be redirected and hopefully helping the taxpayers. We have people who are getting citations who can't afford to fix their sidewalks, and I'd like to see us be able to help them do that, whether that's the city doing the repairs or us contracting for the repairs and putting a second lien on the house that has no monthly payments and only gets paid when the people move out of the house or of course sell it. I think that'd be a great resource for all of us. But the biggest thing that's affecting people is the taxes, and we're not going to get landlords to lower the rent less than what the increases in their property taxes are on an annual basis. So I think it's affected us all. There have been some good projects that have gone in, the Goodwill building being one of them. They're very costly, but they're certainly worthwhile. The projects going in on South Street now that I think has a decent part in it. As far as the MPDUs go, we've collected a lot of money that we don't have a clear plan how to use. I don't think the battery in this is good, but I can talk louder. A clear plan on how to use that money.
Keep it up.
And that's what we need to ultimately do.
Yeah.
It's red light and it just went dead.
Okay. If you could share in the meantime, I'll try and get.
Okay, thank you for that. Sorry for the distraction. And Mr. O'Connor, same question. How can Frederick City best alleviate its problem? And you also, of course, have 3 minutes.
So earlier this year, I got the 40th anniversary edition of Frederick magazine. And when I was leafing through that, they showed the cover of the very first Frederick magazine. And the article, the lead article, the headline was Frederick's affordability crisis, why is housing so expensive? This is not a new phenomenon, and it ebbs and flows based on both micro and macroeconomic reasons. One of the things that's made housing more expensive over the last year or so has been the rise in interest rates. Just a few percentage points in interest rates can add hundreds of dollars to the price of a mortgage, and that can make all of the difference as to whether or not someone can afford a median priced home. But that is not the only issue at work here in Frederick. I agree with Tom in the sense that we are fortunate to live in a community that is very desirable, and that desirability puts upward pressure on pricing. It's also upward pressure on pricing when rising interest rates means that existing housing stock, already built homes, are not on the market at the same rate as they were 5 years ago. My wife sells real estate, and so I know that not having the existing built stock readily available impacts pricing. It reduces the supply and it puts more upward pressure on those new homes. And when the existing homes come on the market, and they are often the most affordable homes because the cost on those is already largely sunk, there's tremendous competition for those homes. As a result of all, we've worked very closely with my administration, working with the city council to do a number of different things. We are partnering with the county right now on an affordable housing needs assessment. And the data from that study is going to be available at the end of this year. We have not done this kind of analysis in a number of years, and it's critical for us to really understand the gaps in affordability so that we can use the right tool to address the right need in addressing that affordability. Our housing policy through our Department of Housing and Human Services is under development and evaluation by our city council. Our city council is taking the legislative responsibility, the policy setting responsibility on housing very seriously. So they've looked at the pools of money that are available and how can we leverage our housing funds, those dollars that we've collected from developers, from moderately priced dwelling units, and put those into housing. we've used those housing funds to incentivize some low-income housing tax credit projects. That's one piece of solving this problem. Getting someone into a house is more complicated. It's about transportation and childcare and healthcare and a lot of other affordability issues. And we've been working on all of those things with the city council and plan to continue that work moving forward.
Thank you very much. Now we will move into a 2-minute answer, and we're going to start with Mr. O'Connor. So we talked about housing. Now let's talk about traffic. Understanding that traffic isn't just a city problem, how must the city proceed along with county and state governments to improve our daily traffic issues? And again, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm proud of the work that we've done in partnering both with the county and with the state to secure the dollars necessary to do necessary safety improvements to Route 15 and that widening project, and some of the efforts to address at least that artery in terms of traffic. When it comes to the surface streets in Frederick, there is work that we can do at the local level to make sure that we're using our adequate public facilities ordinance in the way in which was intended, which is to make sure that every housing project gets tested appropriately and to build the necessary infrastructure. But I think a piece of solving traffic in Frederick is about a more multimodal approach to our transportation issues in the city as well. We're not going to pave our way to better traffic anywhere in America. We need to look at transit options, and I'm grateful for the partnership we have with Transit of Frederick County and providing fare-free options for people to use the bus system in Frederick. It's about creating more bike lanes and better walkability. We're doing that in downtown Frederick as we want to get that Tier 1 development, those infill projects in. It's important that we're collecting dollars necessary to improve surface level transportation in a built environment like downtown Frederick, where widening the roads will never be the option. We've advocated tremendously for increased MARC transit service so that our commuters who are going down the road have the opportunity to increase the options to go down and back from Washington, other than 3 times in the morning out and 3 times back in the afternoon. And our Let's Move Frederick plan, which is a comprehensive bicycle and pedestrian plan, along with the transportation letter that we sent to the Maryland Department of Transportation. We just had their roadshow in Frederick a couple of weeks ago. Those are available on the city's website to see what we're advocating for. Route 26 and Monocacy Boulevard, and a lot of other transportation projects that are critical for this city to work the way it needs to.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Trott, same question. How must the city proceed along with county and state government to improve our daily traffic issues? And again, you have 2 minutes.
We've way overbuilt in Frederick City at this point. Our roads cannot take what we're putting on there. I just want you to drive down Patrick Street tonight, head towards 15, come back in and go by South Street as examples. We need to be taking a mile-high approach. So I'm very happy that Route 15 is going to proceed, and we'll get the studies done by 2028. And probably have a nice extra lane by 2035. And it's not fast enough. We need these changes now. Give you an example. I'm on the board of Mount Olivet Cemetery, and we put a 65+ apartment building there. And it was allowed that they'd only have 0.7 parking spots because, as we all know, people over 65 no longer drive. I'm kidding about that. So what I'm hoping is that by taking a comprehensive approach to all the development, a mile-high approach, we're going to come out a heck of a lot better than what we have now. I don't see things getting better in the near term with the projects that are already in the pipeline, but there are things we can do going forward to improve what we're doing and make sure the roads are there while we're doing the development or before we're doing the development, because without those, we're just all spending a lot of time in gridlock. I do like the idea of there being more opportunities for people to get down to DC and Baltimore, wherever, but I'd much prefer to grow our business base here in Frederick. So we got people living in Frederick City, working in Frederick City, and not having to use the roads as much as they do now. And that's all about more economic opportunity for all of us here in the city of Frederick. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next question will be for 1-minute answers, and we're starting with Mr. O'Connor. First, congratulations on winning the primary. And it now appears that no matter who wins the remaining 2 contested council seats in the general election, a majority of the council, 5 people, will be new to city leadership. and will just be two incumbents, Mr. Shackelford and Ms. Nash. Do you think voters were sending a message? You have 1 minute.
Well, I think that you can only vote for the candidates who are on the ballot, and the majority of the incumbents who are running were all running in the same race. So we knew that there weren't going to be all of those incumbents getting through, and the one incumbent who did run in a race ran in an uncontested primary. And so I think it's difficult to divine whether or not the voters were sending a message. I suppose we'll find out in 19 days. I look forward to working with this council. I think the council representation, the new 7-member body, some of the changes that occurred as a result of the charter are going to give the city a real opportunity to better engage with our residents and better represent the diversity of communities all across the city of Frederick. I'm certainly the incumbent, and I won my primary. So if I was using that just as the litmus test of sending a message, I would say, I've learned from what came out of that campaign, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to stand for the general election.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Trott, Frederick is a blue city, so much so that by law, there were not enough Republicans running for office to require a primary election. We think it's fair to say that most Democrats in the city oppose many of President Trump's policies and actions, including the treatment of federal workers, and currently his threat to cut so-called Democratic programs as punishment for the government shutdown. As a Republican, where do you stand on our president and his policies?
Well, less than 10% of the voters of the city of Frederick got to decide the primary. I want to advocate for an open primary where independent voters can either vote Democrat or vote Republican, and that way I think we'll get a better mix and more thought. As far as it goes, national issues are things I cannot control, and I want to be working here for the citizens of Frederick and the city of Frederick itself, and that's all I can really do. There are things on the federal level which it's just not anything that we can change here. Certainly support our federal workers and that are working here. One of the initiatives I want to have is I want to have a state and federal offices up here so that instead of people traveling to the Department of Energy or Human Services or any of the other ones could actually have a workplace to go in Frederick. It'll keep a lot more people off the 270, a lot of people off the 70 going to Social Security, and it'll create more of an employment base in Frederick. I'd love for it to be right downtown because a lot of the businesses are not being utilized as much and we're a lot less robust than we were 8 years ago. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For the next round, we're going to start again with Mr. Trott, and these will also be 1-minute answers. What impact will the new district representation on the city council have on residents? And do you think the process of redistricting was fair and transparent? We have 1 minute.
I do not think it was fair and transparent. I think it happened in a vacuum, and I think the voters really wanted to get to vote on things. One of the results is now the city is running its own election with essentially one person doing that. The county used to run our elections, but since we're allowing non-citizens to vote, they're not able to run the election for us. If it had been my choice, I think we should have gone to districts because they can better represent the people in those districts, but we should have gone with 3 districts and 2 at large. That way the cost of government and the size of government would have remained the same. And one of my issues that I have is that we don't look into the actual costs of everything that we're doing. And that's a big thing that it should be looked at in everything that we're doing, is the actual cost to the taxpayers. And it would have been a lot less if we had gone with 3 district representatives and 2 at large. And I think it'll be more manageable.
All right.
But time will tell.
And Mr. O'Connor, your question also was for a 1-minute answer. How will the new charter affect the way the executive branch operates and interacts with the city council?
My hope is that it won't have a tremendous impact in how we interact, because this has to be a partnership between the executive branch and the legislative branch. I think Mr. Trott didn't answer the prior question about President Trump. He didn't even mention his name. We're seeing what dysfunction looks like when the executive branch and the legislative branch don't do their jobs. And the work that's been happening in the federal government, or the lack of work, frankly, in the Republican-led federal government of the United States, does trickle down to the city of Frederick. We do feel those impacts every day. Our federal workers are feeling those impacts, and to somehow stick our head in the sand and say, well, what happens at the federal level, the state level doesn't matter. It does matter. It matters greatly. And we're looking at all of the ways as a city that we can address the needs of our federal workers and to provide the support during a short-term process and hopefully not a long-term one. I look forward to continuing to work with the city council because our partnership is essential to how we get work done in the city of Frederick.
All right, thank you. Next round, we're going to start with Mr. Trott. How do you feel about non-citizens voting in this election? You have 1 minute.
I don't think that non-citizens should be voting in the election. There were very few that ended up signing up, and I think it should be reserved for U.S. citizens. Back to the dysfunction question. The dysfunction in the city of Frederick, a lot of it's come from the mayor's office. In February 28th of 2022, Michael O'Connor sold a property for $4.3 million. That property was sold 10 days later for $19.1 million. And I want answers as to who it was sold to. I've looked things up, and it was a new LLC that was formed. That LLC since dissolved. When they resold it to the $19.1 million buyer, it was a Delaware corporation with a New York address. But when we agreed to redo the police station to the tune of $19.1 million, that project ended up costing $33 million with the land. So it's about a 30% increase, the renovation costs. We need to recognize this, that when city employees cannot manage certain projects, and we're better off hiring other people to keep it within cost.
Thank you. Mr. O'Connor, same question that we started with in that last round. How do you feel about non-citizens voting in this election? You have 1 minute.
I appointed a charter review committee, and that charter review committee took a comprehensive look at the guiding document for the city of Frederick. They took nearly a year to evaluate and make recommendations. And then they turned that process over to the Board of Aldermen. Every one of those meetings that our charter review committee had was public and transparent. They turned it over to the council, and for nearly a year, the council, but 19, 20 months altogether. This process was done in the bright lights, and the public had an opportunity to come to every one of those meetings, to watch those meetings, and to participate in that process. I support the work of the Charter Review Committee and their recommendations. I support the votes of the City Council, Board of Aldermen in terms of adopting those charter changes. They were listening to what residents and voters and our community was saying about what they wanted in their city government. And I think that's democracy at work.
Okay, thank you. We're going on to the next round. We're going to start with Mr. O'Connor. These are also 1 minute answers. Okay, both state and federal governments are cutting budgets that support our city's projects and nonprofits. Further, the president's tariffs are just beginning to affect our economy. As mayor, how will you approach what might be difficult economic times ahead?
Well, I'll use the experience that we had in dealing with about the most desperate economic times anyone could have imagined, which was a global pandemic in the spring of 2020, and the impacts that that had on our downtown businesses and our need to pivot very quickly to figure out what can we do to support our business community. And that resulted in periodic street closures and the flexibility in outdoor dining and curbside pickup and adjusting our rules and the things that we needed to do to make sure that we could support the small businesses in our community. And I think it had a profound impact because what we saw occurring in other communities did not occur in Frederick. What's happened since then is the Trump economy is now starting to have an impact on our small businesses. And when the Trump economy starts to affect our small businesses, we're going to have to do the same kinds of creative problem solving to work with our small businesses. Our Department of Economic Development has been there every step of the way to support our businesses in Frederick, and we'll continue to do that in our next administration.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Trott, your 1 minute answer question is, what do you think the city's most significant budget challenges will be during the next 4 years? Again, 1 minute.
They're going to have to deal with me cutting our tax rates, so hopefully reducing that budget. I'd like to point out, if you walk up Market Street, it's not the same as it was 8 years ago. There are a lot of shuttered businesses, some due to fires, some due to just generally not able to get businesses off the ground and transfer them. in the time that Michael's been with the government, there's been virtually nothing done to help these owners of businesses get the second floors and third floors of these buildings occupied. And when you go up and down Market Street, you see it. Restaurants aren't opening till later. There are less hours, and we definitely don't have the vibrant downtown that we had before. And I intend to be rebuilding that. And that's getting more employers downtown so that we can feed the lunch crowd, the stores, and everything that makes Frederick the great place to live and be. And that's going to be a focus.
Okay, thank you. For this next round, we're starting again with Mr. Trott. These are 1-minute answers. Frederick City Police have a policy of not inquiring about immigration status during their engagement with residents, even during arrests. The County Sheriff's Department, however, runs the detention center, and it has a different policy. As mayor, would you seek to change the current policies for the city police?
I think the current policies themselves are working as they are with the city. And I've talked to the chief, and he feels it's very important, as do I, to make sure we have trust within all the communities. Now, when somebody does get taken down to the jail or down to Marcy's Choice, they're going to be checked, and that's that's as it should be, because these are for crimes that are bigger. I just saw in the paper a couple days ago the person that was killed at Home Depot. The person who killed him was here illegally, and after he serves his sentence, he'll be deported. And that's just an example of crime, or when that's actually working. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. O'Connor, your 1-minute answer to this question. Do you believe the Frederick Police Department would benefit from increased diversity in its management staff? And if so, what can you do to encourage that diversity? 1 minute.
Well, I think it's critically important that we have a city government in all sectors that reflects the diversity of the community. And that's why we work so hard since I've become mayor to look at how we can expand our pool of applicants for every job in the city of Frederick. And I certainly think in the police department, that's critically important. It starts with recruitment, and we've recruited over the last 4 or 5 years some of the most diverse classes that have ever come into our academy. To work up the ranks to get to those ranks of lieutenant, ultimately captain, or to be picked to be a police chief requires experience. And what we did not have prior to my coming to office, despite some consent agreements with the NAACP, is that kind of robust recruitment effort that brings in the most diverse and qualified candidates that you can possibly have. And so it takes time. We're doing it, but it's critically important that our police department does reflect the diversity of our community.
All right, thank you. Our next round will also be 1-minute answers. We're starting with Mr. Trott. Mr. Trott, you've said that the city is wasting money on overstaffing and an expansion of city government into areas beyond local government responsibilities. If elected, would you cut staff cuts and or eliminate departments? If so, which ones? Would you cut staff?
I think I got it. I don't have any plans to be cutting staff or eliminating departments till I'm actually in there. And I'm looking forward to meeting with department heads and make sure that our city governments really is handling the core government services well. And I said it before, I'll say it again, I'll probably say it 2 more times while I'm here tonight. It's about core government services: water, sewer, streets, police, parks and rec. And I'm really excited about what we have in Frederick, and I'm certainly going to be looking at all departments to see if things can be streamlined or if we can expand certain things that would make it better. In fact, the city used to handle our water and sewer hookups when there were new, not necessarily new developments, but infill developments. And now that's put out to subcontractors, which is fine, but it's not something that's work particularly well when the plans get sent one way and then they have to be redone, and then the people in the field say, no, we're not going to approve it this way, you got to do it this other way. So it's a lot of issues, a lot of things we can work on.
All right, thank you for that. Mr. O'Connor, you also will have 1 minute for this answer. You have cited workplace development as an emerging opportunity to help young people live, work, and thrive in Frederick. What specifically are you suggesting can be done?
We have created a department, an Office of Opportunity and Transformation. I guess that's probably one of those areas that may end up getting eliminated. when I hear someone talk about cutting taxes, but they don't have a plan for what they would cut when they do that, it sounds like magical thinking to me. And we deliver all of those core services. And one of those core services is support residents in our community. And so we've looked at internships, apprenticeships. We built a whole Frederick core. We're building a youth center in Frederick with young people's involvement in the programming and the design of that facility, because it's critically important that we look to the next generation of leaders and give them the skills that they need to be successful. And that doesn't necessarily mean going to college. I was at an event today out at Harry Grove Stadium that brought hundreds of high school students from Frederick and Washington and other counties here to look at the construction trades and all of the opportunities that are available, including work right with the city of Frederick. So our young people are a critical component to our success moving forward.
All right, thank you. For the next round, we're starting with Mr. O'Connor, and these are 1-minute answers. Running a city government requires interacting of differing opinions and skill sets while motivating them to achieve the necessary goals and tasks. How would people who know you best describe your management style?
I think my management style is very collaborative. I've heard Councilmember Shackelford say this, that if I'm the smartest person in the room, then I need to find a different room. And I completely agree with that. I think it's important to surround yourself with people who are brilliant. And I am fortunate every day to go to work at City Hall with directors and chiefs and managers who are content experts, subject matter experts in the work that they do every day. And I think it's critically important to listen to those voices, to hear those voices. I don't want to be the tiebreaker. I want us to get to consensus on the direction that we need to go. But when it comes to breaking the tie, that's the job that the mayor has. But I've been fortunate and have appointed people into positions, and we've hired a fantastic team at the city of Frederick, and they work very well on behalf of the city of Frederick. And I can tell you, we do not all agree on everything, but we work as a team and we work collaboratively. And I think that's the most important thing that we can do.
Thank you. And Mr. Trott, same question. How would the people who know you best describe your management style?
Well, I can go back to what Michael's saying. I'm very collaborative, and I want to find out that I want to find a diversity of opinions, and then we're going to sift through it. And similar to what Michael said, I am going to be the tiebreaker and not have an issue with that. As I've talked to citizens around Frederick who's approached the mayor's office about different things over the last 8 years, if you're collaborative with your people, you're certainly not collaborative with the citizens of Frederick. And that's one of the things that's been consistent, is they've been telling me, is I don't feel like I'm getting listened to at the mayor's office, and I've got to go to other places, or I've got to go through the council if you really want to get a fair hearing. Thank you.
Okay, our next round, these are also 1-minute answers. We're starting with Mr. O'Connor. The Golden Mile area on the surface doesn't seem to be enjoying the same level of economic success and development as downtown. The old Fredericktown Mall site is largely abandoned, and a recent plan to create a mixed-use area at the Westridge Square Shopping Center has been scaled back from a plan that was approved just 2 years ago. What do you think needs to be done in general along the Golden Mile? And you have 1 minute.
Well, I had a conversation as part of a visit with the Westridge developer, and that's market driven. So their scaling of that project is all about the broader marketplace and where we are in housing. We have made necessary investments on the west side of the city of Frederick, and while it does not have the same notoriety as it did when the mall was active, there is a lot of commerce that occurs every day on the west side of the city of Frederick. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of small businesses that represent the really fantastic diversity of this community. We work with the county to put a library on the west side of the city of Frederick. We're building a community center at West Side Regional Park to support the west side of the city of Frederick. And we are in the design phase right now for a dedicated bus lane to improve transit operability along the west side of the city of Frederick. So yes, it's changed. Retail is not what it was 20 years ago. The west side of the city of Frederick requires the same kind of attention, and we're giving it that we give to every other community.
All right, thank you. And this will be for Mr. Trott, also 1 minute, not the same question though. Paying both city and county taxes can be one of the affordability barriers for young people who want to buy homes in the city and retirees who want to stay in their homes. And the city recently approved a property tax rate cut but that cut may get absorbed in a new county tax hike that is being considered. Do you think tax rates for the city residents are fair?
Definitely not fair. I referenced that 1981 formula that the county uses, and only one other municipality uses it, and that's Myersville, and they end up having a lower county tax rate than we do. And I think about all the services that are provided in the city. That rate should be a lot lower, and it should be at least 10 cents lower in my mind. That would be a 15, or that would be a 10% reduction, additional reduction, which is what I'd be looking for. I would like to talk about West Ridge. There was not, that project when it first came up, it should have been priority. It should have been rushed through. It should have been done. When it takes years to get plans approved, yes, economic models are going to change. And that's something I hope to streamline. I want to see a nice pedestrian underpass or overpass, a welcome to Frederick sign, because Route 40 is our gateway to Frederick, and we need to be honoring those people who are coming that way and the citizens of that area. We need to get the shopping centers connected, and I'll do that by reaching out to the owners of those shopping centers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our next round, we're starting with Mr. Trott, also 1-minute answers. Given the rapid growth the area is experiencing, how do you think Frederick County Public Schools is managing the problem of overcrowded schools in the city? And what, if anything, can the city council do to support students, parents, and teachers? And you have 1 minute.
When we're looking at projects, we need to be in consultation with the county, since they're responsible for the schools. And I don't think we're really doing that now. I had a small project that I was building on South Street, and because of where the schools are, they wanted me to pay an extra 12 to 15,000 per lot, and that's fine, but it still doesn't solve the problem of not enough schools. And we need to be looking comprehensively, again, a mile-high view of what we're doing. And when we're building these large developments out, the schools need to be planned. They need to be there. They need to be under construction before they're needed, not afterwards. And we have these tremendous capacity issues. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. O'Connor, for your 1-minute answer. Along with that need for affordable housing, some neighborhoods are experiencing gentrification. You can find new 2-story houses dwarfing 60-year-old ranchers, and newly renovated apartments are renting for much more than any neighbor could afford. Do you think the city should invest in preserving the character of some of our neighborhoods? And if so, how? You have 1 minute.
Well, I mean, I think that one of the reasons why downtown Frederick looks the way it is because, 70 years ago, the city leadership behind had the wisdom to put the historic preservation overlay over downtown Frederick, and that preserved the character of downtown Frederick. And that preservation certainly did not interrupt the ability of downtown Frederick to thrive. And so there have been conversations about neighborhood conservation zones in the city of Frederick. I think it's a really important policy conversation. We have to make that determination about our older neighborhoods, areas around Hood College, those neighborhoods that are east of Route 15, to try and determine whether or not preservation of that housing stock in its current form is in the best interest of Frederick, in the best interest of those property owners, and in the best interest of affordability. There is going to be no magic solution to addressing affordability. It's going to require dozens of conversations on hundreds of policy points.
Thank you. For the next round, we're going to be starting with Mr. O'Connor, and these are 1-minute answers. Do you think young voters are engaged in the city's issues and policies? If not, how would you encourage more participation on that?
Well, I think what we've tried to do in the city of Frederick over the last couple of years with the development of a youth council, with the work that we're doing right now and engaging with young people, is about building the foundation of civic engagement. I don't miss opportunities when young people want to come to City Hall to talk to them about the value of the work that we do every day in local government. But it's a message, I think, that goes over a lot of people's heads, given where their time and minds and energy are. And this is not a new phenomenon. I can tell you, when I was 18 years old and super excited to vote, I was unique among my peers. There were not a lot of people that I went to college with who was engaged in the day-to-day conversations about politics as I was. there's work to be done in engaging our young people, but it starts with having real conversations and inviting young people to the table. And over the last 8 years, we've done that.
Thank you. Mr. Trott, for your 1-minute question, is the city offering enough to keep our very young people, like our teens and tweens, engaged in our communities in positive ways?
I believe we are. We have several, we have several recreation centers opening up on the west side, on Jefferson Street. And the YMCA is going to be going out to Route 40 and having a facility, not a full YMCA, but a gym facility out there. So I think we are. Engaging young people is certainly a challenge. I've been really honored with my campaign, and a lot of people younger have reached out, and not all of them first election, but second or third. And I'm praying that leads to a greater voter turnout than we've experienced previously. I guess time will tell. Everybody's got a ballot, and some people probably already turned theirs in, and hopefully there's a lot more of those coming in from all age groups. And that's all we can hope for, is great engagement and keep doing what we're doing as far as what's going on and giving young people opportunities to get together and work for the betterment of Frederick.
Okay, thank you. Next round, we're starting with Mr. Trott, and these are also 1-minute answers. New policies and actions by the current administration in Washington have some Frederick residents feeling unsafe, especially our immigrant and LGBTQ+ communities. As the city leader, how will you address those fears? It's one.
My office is certainly always going to be open for people to come and talk about their concerns. In large part, I feel we're insulated from a lot of those, but you can't, fear is fear, and you can't tell people not to be afraid of something. Michael and I attended a forum with the Aging with Pride group, just a coffee hour, and it was interesting hearing other perspectives from people. My kids went to TJ High School with large immigrant population there, and a lot of their friends may have been U.S. citizens by birth. Parents may not have been here legally, and they've been here for a long time. They're our citizens. I would love for there to be a pathway to citizenship. They're valuable to our community, and we need to advocate to make that happen. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. The next one is for Mr. Trott. Did you just get 2 in a row? I think I had some.
But I'm okay with
Okay,
that.
I'm going to give you that same question that I gave him. New policies and actions by the current administration in Washington have some city mayors feeling, oh no, this is the different one, have some city mayors feeling uneasy as well, especially those in blue cities and blue states. Currently, court challenges seem to be the only effective tool stopping the federal government from superseding local authority. Given what is happening, what concerns, if any, do you have for Frederick? You have 1 minute.
Well, I think once again, my opponent doesn't even want to address the fact that it's a real issue that we have an administration in Washington that is terrorizing cities all across this country for reasons that are of their own. They believe things to be true that simply are not true, and they're deploying resources with the sole intention of scaring people, and to not acknowledge that we have residents in this community every day that are feeling the effects of those policies, that understand that rhetoric, that those words mean something to them because they are the ones that stand to lose the most if the policy conversations are pushed into action. I was appreciative that the Attorney General issued guidance just yesterday in Maryland about what our police departments should do, but our responsibility in local government is to stand for our residents, and will not shy away from that responsibility in an O'Connor administration.
Okay, thank you. For this next round, there are also 1 minute questions, and we're starting with Mr. Trott. What are your biggest environmental concerns about the city, and how would you address them? It's 1 minute.
The city's environmental policies have been fine, and certainly we all need to have a great environment and be concerned when we're having all this construction all over the place, what it's actually doing to the environment. The reason that we're having all these flood control projects now is because we've built up Frederick to the point similar to Ellicott City, and it's created pockets of flooding. It's costing millions and millions of dollars to correct. And again, it's the mile high view. We're not looking. The water's going to go somewhere. And you can't, by the YMCA, have a pipe this big that needs to have a pipe the size of Texas. And that's what we've had. And it's nice that we're finally, did enough studies with the Army Corps of Engineers that we're moving on them. But it's something that should have been anticipated and done long ago. Again, it's study after study instead of getting the job done or holding off the developments when we need to not have these problems created, because they are problems of our own making.
Okay, thank you, and Mr. O'Connor, for this round. For your 1 minute answer, public transportation is one way to address environmental impact. What needs to happen to create more public transportation use in Frederick?
Well, I understand what the rules are, but I would be curious to know whether or not my opponent believes that climate change is an actual thing. Downtown flooded in the 1970s, long before the building that we're seeing today occurred, which means that rain and storms and flooding are actual things that existed in Frederick prior to the development we've seen over the last several years. What we have seen over the last several years is the intensity of those storms increase. And our need to address that changing dynamic and the changing interface of storms with our communities is why we've made the investments that we have. With regard to transportation, our Let's Move Frederick plan is a comprehensive bicycle and pedestrian plan. We're looking at EV chargers, solar canopies. We're doing all the things that we can do, working with the county on their transit services and how they run that service to support our residents. Transportation options have to be varied in order for us to look at the transportation or the environmental impact of that.
Okay, thank you. This next round will also be 1 minute answers. We're starting with Mr. O'Connor. Is Frederick doing enough to include and support diverse entrepreneurship and economic development?
We are the administration that did a disparity study that actually looked at city spend to determine whether or not the dollars that we were putting in our projects were going to as diverse a community of businesses as we possibly could. And so we developed a small business reserve program and a minority women and business enterprise program. The Trump administration is in the process of trying to dismantle those efforts and to look at the constitutionality of whether or not the kinds of things that we're doing to ensure that every community, every small business in the city has a fair opportunity is something that we want to continue to do. We will follow the law. But the law in some of these areas is rapidly changing, but we will not be the vibrant city that we need to be if our small businesses, our women-owned business, and our minority businesses are not getting a fair shot to compete and succeed across the city of Frederick.
Thank you. And Mr. Trott, your question for this round. With our current growth issues, including the need for more schools and moderately priced homes, what can the city do to attract more employers to take root here?
Well, attracting employers is something I've been doing my whole life in businesses that I've been running. And I think it comes with having government services centers, with getting the jobs pathway filled up with more businesses, and really promoting the city. One of the challenges we have is the taxes on a city property, a commercial city property, versus one in the county. If they just go south of town off of 85 or 355, it's a lot less expensive. So we need to be looking at possibly tax credits for new businesses and those type of things. We need to get people in the city, working in the city. And as far as environmental goes, that'll certainly help. We want less people on the roads, and we do want our buses filled up. I can't tell you how often I see them running empty through the city. I'm looking forward to changing that and just being a positive impact on our community. Thank you.
Thank you. For the next round, we're starting with Mr. Trott, and these are also 1 minute answers. As mayor, how would you enlist support from Frederick's state and federal leadership for the city's initiatives?
Well, I think we have a great relationship with the state now, or a big pocketbook that sends a lot of money down there. And I think we should be able to leverage the money that we're sending to the state and hopefully getting some priorities handled up here. I think their state delegation is doing a fine job with that. I do want to make sure that we're pressing the issues that we need to, and that's not telling us that Route 15 suddenly needs a third lane in each direction. It's been that way for at least 5 years now, and it's time that we get our due from the state. And I'm looking forward to working with everybody to make that happen. Whether we're Democrat, Republican, or independent, we're all in this together. And the more we can work together, the better off we're all going to be. And I promise you that my administration here as mayor is going to be just that. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. O'Connor, your question for this 1 minute round. As you campaign for a third term, what is different, if anything, about the concerns or issues you're hearing from residents this time around?
The affordability issue is the biggest concern because we're seeing the impacts of a national economy hitting our small businesses and our communities in ways that didn't occur in my first years in office. We had flooding in 2018. We had the pandemic, which was its own dynamic in 2020 and 2021. This administration has allowed us to move forward on a number of projects and sort of press forward on things like getting that headquarters project done and expanding business opportunities in the city of Frederick. We've seen net 400 plus new businesses in the city of Frederick. We just did a groundbreaking a couple of weeks ago for a $90 million expansion of a bakery manufacturing plant on Monocacy Boulevard. And so we're doing the work that we need to do to keep the economy as vibrant as it possibly can, but affordability across the city, from our small businesses to our residents, is the biggest need and the greatest opportunity for us in the next administration.
Okay, thank you. For this next round, these will be 2 minute answers, and we're starting with Mr. O'Connor. Working with a new city council, the majority of whom are new to city government, what do you think can be accomplished in the first year of your new term? You have 2 minutes.
So I was fortunate when I was first elected in 2009 to work with 4 brand new members of the Board of Aldermen and a new mayor. None of us had been elected to anything previously. And I think that it comes down to the attitudes of the individuals who are in the offices. And I've had the opportunity over this campaign. I've known many of these people since before they got into this race. And it's been a tremendous honor to meet them over the course of this campaign. I have great optimism that with aligned goals, talking about things like housing affordability and transportation, education, and childcare, and small business support, and resident engagement, and our neighborhood advisory councils, that this is a council that will come together very quickly to identify goals and priorities that will make Frederick a community of opportunity for everyone. I know that the Democrats that are running on this in this race share a vision that I share for what the future of Frederick can look like in terms of being a community of opportunity. I know the Republican candidates well enough, and I'm optimistic that if they are elected, that we will forge a partnership that moves what's important to the residents of the city of Frederick forward. It's important for us to work on behalf of our residents. We're here not for our own pet projects. Our responsibility is to the residents of the city of Frederick. And every day we come to work with the objective to try and make what happens in the city a little bit better today than it was yesterday. And our goal will be to make tomorrow a little better than it is today. And I'm confident that working together with the council, we can achieve that.
Thank you. And Mr. Trott, for your 2 minute round, if elected as Republican mayor, working with a new, larger city council, what do you think can be accomplished in your first year in office within 2 minutes?
Regardless, if I'm elected, we're going to have at least 5 people in the city council that have a different letter after their name on the voter's guide. But I've been building friendships and forging partnerships over years in business. And I'm confident that we're all going to come together and put out a list of our goals of what we want to see. And a lot of it's going to come down to common things that we want to see, which is a vibrant Frederick. And I don't think we have that now. I don't think we have that teamwork going on. And I'm sure I'm going to turn it around and we're all going to come together and make things a lot better for Frederick, Maryland.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the questioning part of the forum. Now we will go into the closing statements. You'll each have 2 minutes, and we'll start with Mr. O'Connor.
I said at the beginning, it's been the great honor of my life to be the mayor of the city of Frederick for the last 8 years. I grew up in this community, and this was certainly not the career path that I had planned on taking. I spent 20 years working in local media in Frederick, covering local issues from about every perspective that you possibly could. I spent 11 years managing a nonprofit before I was elected mayor. I bring a really diverse and unique skill set into this job. And over the last 8 years, we have advanced the city of Frederick in positive ways. We know that challenges still await in the coming years, whether it's the impacts on small businesses from the effects of the Trump administration, whether it is the need to ensure that every resident who calls Frederick home sees Frederick as a place of opportunity. I was very fortunate. I was born into a middle-class family with parents who both worked until I, as the youngest of 5, came along. My mother had the benefit of leaving the workforce and raising a family. We know that these aren't realities for families today. And people should be able to stay home if they want to stay home, and they should be able to work if they want to work. And we as a community have to figure out how we're going to provide the childcare, the healthcare, the transportation, the housing options to make sure that Frederick is an affordable community, but more importantly, to make sure that Frederick is a community of opportunity for everyone who chooses to live here. I was born here. I am a Frederictonian by accident of birth. I have great admiration for all of you who are in this community who moved here from someplace else. You are rich and valued part of our community story. And together, I know that we can continue to do great things and build opportunity for everyone in Frederick. I ask for your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Trott, you also have 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
I'd like to thank the audience for putting up with my poor public speaking, but I promise you, if elected, it'll get better over the next 4 years. In closing, I'd like to point out that our property taxes, the budget has gone up 60%. Population's only gone up 20%. I pointed out the monocacy real estate deal that nobody seems to want to talk about. But $4.3 million on February 28, 2022, and on March 10th, that property sold again from the buyer of the city. They made almost $15 million because we sold that property undervalued. And it's something that the people should be answering to, and it's something that I'll avoid. I love our new police station. It's well deserved, but the cost of that project, again, 30% over. Maybe that's good for government work, but it's not good for the people of Frederick. Just too much money is going out the door. My passion is to serve the people of Frederick. And I need to ask you all to ask yourselves if you think we're better off now than we were 8 years ago. And I think we're on a downward trend, and I think I can turn it around. I'm looking forward to doing that with the new city council. My name's Tom Trott. I want to be your mayor of Frederick, and I stand united with all who want to be with me on this journey. One Frederick. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And thank you to our candidates, timer, our interpreters. I think Kate's going to come up and say things, but when she talks about the voter's guide, I wanted to do a show and tell. This is our Spanish voter's guide, and this is our English language voter's guide. Thank you to the Frederick News Post for working with us on those. They are on the table in the back. If any candidates or attendees want to take one, a few, a stack, whatever you like. And I will now unplug. I will turn it over to Kate. Excuse me.
As Lori said, additional election and candidate information is available in our voter's guide. And she gave a lot of that information. Just check myself here. A video recording of this event will be available on YouTube for you to review if there was anything that went too fast or that you want to check again. You can find the link on our website at lwv.org and on our Facebook page, League of Women Voters of Frederick. Please remember to vote. Early voting is October 24th and 25th, and the general election is November 4th. In-person voting is at the Trinity Recreation Center from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on New Design Road, and you should have received your mail-in ballots, which you can either mail or drop yours in one of the many drop boxes across the city. Thank you for being here online, and thank you for being here today, and for those online, thank you for watching. And I'm gonna do the you